Welcome to another episode of Inside the Chambers. I'm your host, Bria Tai, and this is a podcast where we here at Hallsbury Chambers explore business, law, and community development in the Bahamas. Today we're here with Jeron Fowler, who is a real estate agent here in the Bahamas, and we're going to be discussing purchasing property in the Bahamas. So welcome to the podcast, Jeron, and thank you so much for being here today. I'd like to start by asking you how exactly you got into real estate and how did your journey begin in real estate?
It goes back probably to when I was a very, very young child. My parents would drive around Nassau and we'd always just be looking at properties. I'd be out the window, young me, putting my head out the window, so, oh, I like that house, I like this community. But back then I didn't necessarily know that related to me being a real estate agent. All my life I was like, I'm just going to follow my dad's footsteps on being an architect. But growing up, I was like, yeah, it's nothing that I'm passionate about. Until I was in University of the Bahamas, and basically I was not motivated. I was taking up electrical engineering, and I wasn't happy in 2020. I was like, geez, like what am I gonna do with my career and do something that I actually love? Until I stumbled upon a YouTube video with someone who works at my company, ironically. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And ever since I saw that video, I was like, I think this is the one right there, because I was able to view properties, be in communities, but also help people make a big move and make a big decision in their life, you know? Mm-hmm. And so when I weighed each option, I was like, oh yeah, real estate agent is probably for me.
Awesome. So in your opinion, how is real estate development impacting Bahamian communities today?
It's a big impact, actually. And recently, I think a big impact is actually in the commercial development. So right now, say for instance, we see Venetian West has some commercial properties that they just put out, which is giving a lot of locals a place to grow their business. Mm-hmm. Same thing is happening with Ivy Plaza, that's located in the West as well. A lot of locals are starting and establishing their business, growing their brands. And so that's really good, and it brings convenience to these communities as well. And so it's really good. Even with residential communities, it's more on the higher end I see right now. So a lot of luxury, it tends to the luxury clientele, but a lot of development is happening in Nassau and on the Family Islands. And so it's really good to see that development is happening and there's a lot of demand for it. Once they build something, it's typically rented out already or occupied already. So it's really good.
Mm-hmm. What would you say are some common legal pitfalls faced by real estate agents or first-time buyers in the Bahamas?
Mm-hmm. Common pitfalls. I think people don't necessarily know the cost of actually purchasing. So they know about the down payment, but they don't know about, attorney fees, homeowners insurance, real property tax. And so I try to tell my clients what they are getting themselves into, not just the purchase, but you have to also maintain this purchase. And so sometimes purchasing might actually be a big downfall for someone who isn't prepared to actually keep up with these payments and so forth. So yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's really important to establish that clarity with your clients before getting into such a large purchase like this. So that brings me into my next question, which is how important is it to have a knowledgeable attorney representing you when purchasing property?
It's crucial. The attorney plays a big role in the purchase of a property because they deal with all of the legal aspects and legal details of it. So from legal documents, title searches, you also have to make sure that it has no ownership issues or encumbrances. I also tell my clients that, hey, a good attorney is crucial. I recommend them to a lot of attorneys who I've dealt with in the past. And they basically make sure that what you think you're buying is what you're legally getting. And so it's very important to have a great attorney on your side and on your team because they're going to save you a lot of money and a lot of time from making like those mistakes and so forth. So yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first entered the real estate industry?
I think one of my biggest challenges was actually getting the apprenticeship so I could become a real estate agent. I remember being 19, sending all kind of emails to agents, calling them, say, hey, can I get this apprenticeship? I was young and just very youthful and joyful. And they telling me no, and I have to get used to that no. Being comfortable with people telling me no. But I remember that was just a big challenge because it took me so long just to find that apprenticeship. And I had to start a business, like a side business, just so I could be connected to some agents and try to build a connection based off the side business so it could ultimately translate to me becoming an apprentice. And so it took me starting a business just to even be seen by some people, be seen to actually get that apprenticeship. So that was one of my biggest challenges. But the next challenge was definitely was in my head. It was getting over that I'm too young to do this. And it's very intimidating going into a field where there are a lot of older, seasoned people and you're young and you feel like you don't know what you're doing. So getting over that fear was also a big challenge. And it's always there. It's always something that you always have to tackle head on and try to defeat every day. So, yeah.
So with that being said, what advice would you give to any young individuals who are thinking about entering the real estate industry?
Advice for young individuals who want to get in the real estate industry. I'll definitely say put God first. That helped me out a ton. I'll also say don't be afraid to start. For me, my friends had to push me to start. When I first started on social media, I didn't want to post that video. Even sometimes today, I'm still a little hesitant to post it online. But I'll say don't be afraid to start. You'll never be 100% ready. I'll also say there is room and there's big opportunity for you in the field. And so if you know that this is what you want, go after it. Chase purpose and passion. Don't just chase money. Continue just to learn every day. And yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Inside the Chambers. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for more episodes soon.